निवेदन किया कि बात तो ठीक है, लेकिन शुरुआत काशी से हो, फिर आगे चलेंगे। तो ये कमिंग टुगेदर है, केवल ये बिगिनिंग है। ये आगे हम साथ बने रहें, ये जरूरी है, और लक्ष्य को प्राप्त कर सकें इसके लिए साथ मिल के काम करें, ये उससे भी ज़्यादा जरूरी है। यह कार्यक्रम इसी दिशा में एक छोटा सा प्रयास है, जिसमें हम सभी की सहभागिता और सहयोग संभव है कि एक बड़ी भूमिका अदा कर सके हमारे राष्ट्रीय लक्ष्यों को, शैक्षिक लक्ष्यों को पूरा करने में। एक और इसके पीछे की बात थी, कोई पूछ सकता है कि प्राचार्यों को ही क्यों? वो भी इसलिए क्योंकि एक अध्यापक को अगर कुछ प्राप्त होता है तो जितना वो उसको बांटेगा या जितना उसका उपयोग अपने विद्यालय या समाज में करेगा, उसकी तुलना में प्राचार्य निश्चित तौर से ज़्यादा करेगा। इसलिए शुरुआत कप्तान से, फिर बाकी टीम।
As a matter of fact, the fast changing world wherein knowledge has become the order of the day, to the extent that we are now conceiving it as the knowledge world.
Staff in certain areas, isn't it? We have progressed a lot in certain areas. In certain areas, we are just taking baby steps, and the nation building process is at a very advanced stage for certain sections of the society, and it is in a very beginning stage for certain other sections of our society. Some historian had once mentioned about India that India
acknowledged for some political reasons, but every genuine scholar acknowledges that we were really the Vishnu Gurus. So what is required? Our science and technology was at the peak. One example, for example, there can be hundreds of examples, hundreds of literary works can be quoted, and you all know them. Astronomy, for example, that mathematical calculations your supercomputers are doing, our rishis did it long time back. So you can imagine what was the scientific tradition. So what is required is that you require the resurgence of that knowledge creation tradition. Provide autonomy, ensure support and mechanism, freedom of work with world-class facilities to operate at front lines of new knowledge. We all know in the scientific community, new knowledge is generated only through newer technologies. It doesn't come through talks. It doesn't come through talks. It comes through high-speed internet. It comes through high-speed DNA sequencers. It comes through frontline equipments. And it comes through that frontline support.
Now coming back to the academic leadership. So now we have understood what is leadership, or on a large scale we have also understood what is the difference between manager and a leader. Let's understand when we bring it down to our ecosystems of academic leadership, how we translate that. And please feel free to ask questions if you have any. So functions of the academic leadership is that they should set goals. A leader's most important function is to set the goals for each team member and encourage them to work confidently and enthusiastically. And then to do that, organize the team and then take initiatives and then cooperation among the employees. We have staff, we have teachers, we have students. What policies do we make that everybody cooperates with everybody? So teachers should cooperate with staff, staff should cooperate with students, and only then a good organization can function well. How to motivate our own people? How to give direction? Direction is extremely important. In which direction you will take this? When you take over as principal, you should set yourself some goals. That this is by the end of 4 years or 5 years, whatever your tenure is. This is the main difference I will make. This is the footprint that I want to leave at the end of 3 years. So you should set goals and set directions. And then of course you should liaise between different stakeholders, and to achieve your goals you have to make the policy making and so on. So this is what boils down to making academic leadership. So in order to make effective academic leadership for the principals of the college, I think Professor Rathod mentioned first point, absolutely I agree. If you are not having good academic background, believe me, everybody is equal. Teachers are as good as you or better than you. Strong in your area, you need to reserve some time for that. You have to set goals, communicate the goals clearly to your constituencies, and insist on accountability. If you don't make people accountable, no organization will work. Be strategic, but at the same time be diplomatic. Faculty to be given enough time and resources for academic upgrades. Faculty should not be just for teaching. They should also be upgraded, because that actually energizes them. Okay, make efforts to establish a collegial information. It takes time for all the results to show up. Once you do all this, it's not a magic wand. It's not, if you do it today, tomorrow you will not see results. But over time, 6 months, 1 year, if you do that, you will see marked improvement in the outcomes. Okay. What are the challenges? So as I mentioned, trust deficit. If your constituency loses, trust in you, or there is general degradation in the society, then you will face challenges. Nowadays, there are lots of mechanisms of making complaints. You just need one email, one SMS. So there is ease of making complaints through variety of mechanisms. People can reach different levels, and this is really a big challenge, how to effectively manage. There are so many rules and regulations and restrictions, so it's easy to overlook and make mistakes. But then what Raghu, take fearless decisions. Crisis can be converted into opportunity. And the same thing applies to institutions, academic institutions also. So see what happened, we all know 1945, the country was converted into a rubble because of nuclear explosions. It was a catastrophe, human tragedy of the highest. But they converted it into opportunity. And today, if you look at Japan, Japan today is third largest GDP in the world. Okay, it's ranked second Asian country in global peace index. How did they achieve this? Same thing can be done in our organizations also. How did Japan did it? They did it collectively. They got up as a country. It was a collective rebuilding, collective adrenal flow. So everybody started focusing on rebuilding the country in the factories, rebuilding using latest technology. They maximized on available opportunities. In fact, there was a Korean War. They offered their land for the American bombers, and then they used that opportunity to earn money and build resources for themselves. And then quality. They focused on quality. So you can see that right from early on, 1952 onwards, they started making most sophisticated products in the world in Japan. Okay, and this is what happened. You see, this is the GDP by the institution. When the institution is the infrastructure, buildings, equipment, etc., and leadership equally is an equal partner. The third pillar of the research and academic excellence. So, building institutions for academic excellence involves, all the entire organization should have a common purpose, common goal. Unless that common goal is decided, the institution will not make progress towards it. It should be based on some social value. It should serve the public purpose, because ultimately, all the academic institutions are public funded in one way or the other. Even private institutions are public funded that way. So somebody is paying the fee. So you should look at what is the purpose it serves to the public, and then it is bound by a set of rules, and it is often a seat of higher level. 5 best practices that you can adopt in your institution to make it a center of excellence. One is that you can, in your colleges, you can think about smart campuses. You can start doing automation and adoption of technology into various facets of the administration that you are doing. You can do student centricity of the activities. You can do student engagement of the institution. And then, this is extremely important. You should invest in faculty development. And not only faculty development, also faculty appraisal. You have to evaluate them, how they are doing. because ultimately they are getting money from private exchange. So what I mean to say here is that the students should be of all academic institutions. They teach, they lead the research group, they advise, they have long tenures. Long tenures means you just hire them 35 years, they are there. It could have both positive as well as negative connotation. If you hire a right person, he will be productive for 35 years. If you hire a wrong person, he will be a financial burden for you and a nuisance for next 35 years. So this has both connotations, so one has to be careful, and there is a need for letting people go. Those who are underperformer, there should be some way to let them go. Recruiting good faculty and ensuring good output is critical to the success of the academic institution. What attracts good faculty to your institution? So there are three factors. One is there should be welcoming environment. There should be positive. Professor Rathod also talked about it. Diversity enhances productivity. It increases the fire in the belly for all. And fire in the belly is so important for the growth of any organization. Stakeholders in competition will deprecate newcomers, but look at overall indicators and trend, and they show that it increases the fire in the belly. And exposure to a wide range of perspectives, ideas, and cultural backgrounds naturally encourages students and faculty to develop open-mindedness later in the life. If I have people from Northeast, from South, from all places in BHU, when these students graduate, they will have appreciation for people from Northeast, they will have appreciation for people from South India, they will. So requirements are with computational thinking, this becomes creative computational thinking. And when this computational thinking is mixed with problem solving, this becomes technology enhanced problem solving. And when all of this is put together, this becomes co-creative computational thinking problem solving. And this is what we have to disciplines. Mechanical engineering is just mechanical engineering. Okay. Few higher education institutions taught in local language. Actually, only one that I know. Only Anna University used to teach in Tamil. 4.7% people in the world speak Hindi. Spanish 6.15. English is 5.4. So, is English global language? No. Arabic 4.43. Portuguese. Bengali is 3.1. Russian. Turkish, and if you look at this second level of circle, you will find a lot of Indian language, 1%, 2%, 3%, much higher than Hebrew. So, India is an ocean of languages. India is like United States, with every state speaking different language. This figure shows the numbers. Bengali is spoken by 83 million, 8.2 Telugu 74 million, Urdu 51 million. So you can see Hindi is spoken by 42.2 crores. So India is an ocean of language with unity in diversity. Again, example of unity in diversity. And we have to preserve this diversity.